This training video will cover adding inventory to Kennel Connection 7. If you have a light version of Kennel Connection 7, you will not see the inventory option. You would want to upgrade to standard version in order to access this. To get into your inventory section, you will go to File, Setup, and then Inventory. Once you open up your inventory screen, you will see some items within the left hand. Typically, you'll see board, daycare, delivery, exercise, feed, and other items that are in large capital letters. You'll notice that when you click on these items, they will be grayed out under the code box, which means they are system items that cannot be deleted. They are required in order for Kennel Connection to properly invoice. You'll also see some other items in here that I added. These are packages that are added under your Setup Packages tab. Once you've added your packages, if you need to tax them, you can do so within here. For instance, if I wanted to tax my 10-day full package, I would click on it, click my Tax 1 and/or Tax 2 box, and click Save. Anytime you make any changes of any items, you always want to click Save. For instance, Tax 1 on this item, Save. Then I can move on to the next item. The system also has vendors and categories. The categories that you see in capital letters are system categories that were created. The lowercase letters are ones that I have created. For instance, I created food, extras, and toys. To create a new category, you would click on New, type in your category name, and click on Save. If you change your mind, simply click Cancel. You can also delete these items if you want. You click on one and choose the Delete button. To create a vendor, you would click on the Vendors radio button, click New, enter any information you would like for that vendor, and then click on Save. Again, you can also delete these as well. Once you've created categories and vendors to your liking, you can click on your Inventory tab, or if you already have them in there, you'll start out with your inventory. To create a new item, you would select New. You would start with the code. You can create a code, or if you have a barcode scanner, you can scan in the barcode at this point, or type the number in. If the item is taxable, you can select Tax 1 and/or Tax 2. If you would like to assign a vendor to it, for instance, you're buying this item from ABC Dog Food, you can select that. If you have a second vendor that you sometimes buy them from, for instance, XYZ Pet Toys, you can select that. You can select up to 3 different vendors that you purchase this item from. You can then select a category. For instance, if we're going to add a toy, I would put it under my Toys category. All of these things are not required, they are optional. You can enter the number you have on hand. I received 10, so I'm putting in 10. There's a low box. If you want Kennel Connection to warn you when you receive, you get down to a number such as 2. I want to know when I am down to 2 items. I will receive a warning when I'm creating an invoice. The cost is how much I paid for it. So I paid $1 for this item. And I'm going to charge $5 for this item. You could also enter a markup, so you want to enter 50%. That would automatically mark up your item 50%. There's a vendor item number, so for instance, if this item is bought from XYZ Pet Toys, and it's not the same code that I put in, I could put in a vendor item number here. Description will be the item name, and this will show up on your invoice. You can also create an invoice message that comes up. Another important step that you want to make sure you use is the product or service designation at the bottom. If this is a product, you want to be sure to click on product so that the item does count down anytime it's added to an invoice. You also have the option of creating commissionable or non-commissionable. You'll leave that unchecked. You have a type of commission, percentage or flat rate, and the percentage rate. If you use the QuickBooks Direct link, you will have an option down here to select an income account for that item. And finally, at the bottom, you have the option to expire this item. Maybe it's a special sale or something that you only offer for a certain time period. Another thing to point out is on the right-hand side here, you have some boxes that say retain. These items, if you're adding a whole bunch of items for ABC dog food, you could click retain. And then when you click save on this item in new, ABC dog food will retain. If you're not going to be adding the same vendors, then you would unclick retain. You can retain your vendor 1, 2, and 3, your category, your quantity on hand, your cost, and your retail, as well as description. Another thing to point out is that there is a recurring checkbox. If you select recurring for any item in the system, that item will always show up on invoices when you check someone out. This was a request by some customers who charge an insurance item for each booking that comes in. For instance, they charge $1 for insurance for that pet who stays every single time they come in. So that item will always show up on an invoice. It's a very rare occurrence that you'll find this, but it is available if you need it. Within the inventory section, you can sort your list by code or description. You can change that there, and it will change your sort view by description or by code. You can also search within the search box if you need to. Covered in another training video is activities such as purchase orders and receiving inventory, and then reports. Please do keep in mind that your inventory section has its own reports. You can print out a barcode sheet. For instance, if you added a barcode number to this item, but it doesn't actually have a barcode on it, you could print out a sheet of barcodes to stick to those items so that you could use a barcode scanner to scan them into your invoices. You can also print an inventory list, an inactive list, a low report, a services listing, and a vendor list. If you have any questions on how to add other inventory items, please give us a call at 888-486-4343 or email training@bluecrystalsoftware.com.